And then for the next pair, this
these are
one
the viral ones,
was very
bro.
controversial. The Balenciaga distressed pair of sneakers.
How much are they selling for?
They're selling for, you want to guess? Who wants to guess what the high tops are going for?
I heard
1,000.
1,000, like
1,000?
1,100, 1,200.
Right. You would some designer shoes, right? 1850.
Jesus. Well, I mean, to be real though, it probably is like a lot more work than the average shoe they put out. Because it looks like they probably had to like by hand scuff it up and like, could you
That's
imagine getting the behind the scenes
true.
footage from the factory of this like fucking 70-year-old Japanese or not Japanese probably but Filipino lady, wherever the fuck their factory is at, taking the shoe and rubbing it on the ground and scuffing it up and
that's ironic because honestly, you do prove a good point. Like a cleaner sneaker is probably cheaper to make than this shoe. So
for sure, yeah.
That's the thing about Balenciaga. It's like it's gotten so meta. You know what I mean? They've gotten so self-referential where it's like you saw the Simpsons collab like 6-9 months ago, and now they're doing like shirt just says 5G, and they're kind of just poking fun of like they're doing it in an ironic way.
I bought plain like Balenciaga like Van styles ones, and they were pre-scuffed and like looked kind of fucked up, and I thought it was tight. But then they feel like shit compared to Vans. And I refuse to spend like $800 on shoes that feel like shit compared to $40 shoes.
Bro,
that's the worst part about these shoes, that they don't really build a relationship with their factories. Like most of these shoes are only going to last like a year or two.
Oh, really?
Whereas like the Vans is like 60 years. So they go through all the problems and vulcanize or whatever the fuck they call it.
You know what I have to say about this is like there's these very normie memes that like from the past about how fashion brands will take their inspiration off homeless people. They'll be like, oh, we're just going to copy this homeless drip and sell it
more than ever.
This is such like the epitome of that meme that's not even funny anymore.
I think that's why they're doing it though. Like them to the creative director, in my opinion, is probably like the coldest creative director they ever had. But it's like he's honestly making fun of his customers at this point.
Yes.
I think that like he's clearly just like, bro, you really think someone's gonna buy it? It's like, bro, like
this is what Supreme did with the brick.
And that's kind of an amazing place to be in as a brand, is where like that your audience includes a lot of fucking meatheads that are going to buy whatever you make. And so you get to just push the envelope and just see what they're willing to deal with.
Literally.
Now, this is my thing about this, is that to me, one thing that I always liked about clothes and about style and subcultures in general is just the idea that you could look at someone based on what they're wearing and create, assumptions about them. Like if you have tattoos, like as a young person, that just made me feel like, oh, he's lived a lot. He's had a lot of experiences. He's clearly, done a lot of shit. So he's like earned having these tattoos all over his body, whatever. Mm-hmm. As a BMX rider, like my shoes were always fucked up. And I looked at that as, this is like what makes me me, is that my shoes are fucked up because I'm actually out here riding bikes every fucking day. And in the same way, like, I just look at this and I'm like, wow, like I could put on the fashion hat and be like, wow, this is hilarious. It's irreverent. It's funny. They're taking something that has never really been done before by making shoes that look this fucked up. But then there's also a big part of me that's like, if you buy these shoes and you wear them, it's the same logic as like why I think it's kind of corny to wear jeans that come pre-ripped.
That's what I was
gonna
say.
You're buying something for an exorbitant amount of money to pretend that you've actually had the life experience of falling down on the ground and scraping your knee.
That was a big thing in the 2000s. Like people didn't want to accept wearing ripped jeans, but that became like a trend.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. It's like I think he's literally just making a statement on that. It's like how deep is this shit?
I'm also realizing as
they have cleaner versions. Yeah.
As we're going through these photos, I'm realizing that this is something that fashion brands do for their walk, where like the models will go across the walk, whatever. They'll have these crazy outfits that no one can wear in public, but then their actual release of stuff you could buy is wearable stuff. So I feel like the original shoes were like a statement piece or like kind of like an advertisement piece where these are the ones you're actually going to buy. Well, the ones before, not
the
these.
Completely distressed high tops are on that. Those are the 1850 ones. These little mules are $500. Those right there on camera on the screen.
No way.
But what do you think will actually sell more, and what do you think that they think will sell more?
The clean ones.
I think that they're just making so much money that they just need to put something on the calendar. I think these would fucking sell. Like I could see some stupid ass influencers making this shit viral.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are kind of cool. I mean, I think the ones that aren't totally fucked up, I think just look cool.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are fucked up, I think they look kind of cool, even though I also think you're kind of a custer if you actually spend your money on them.
Yeah, there's way better ways of spending $1850, guys. Go make a pair of shoes. You'll also save $1,000 while doing that.
I'm just eternally confused by fashion in general. I feel like because like I would always look at Joe Budden and see him like, you know, he was like at the height of his career. And he's just rocking an Amiri hat every day and a Balenciaga hat, and I'm like, why?
That's the crazy part, because like going like now that I'm more treading into like the fashion industry and meeting all these connects, it's like, bro, I thought I was gonna make sense of most of this shit. This shit's still very fucking confusing. You know what I mean? Like I still don't have all the information I need.
Because okay, I'm gonna make an assumption. If you tomorrow got a job being like the assistant to the fucking president of Balenciaga, so you immediately are just like in on everything. Say you became head designer at Balenciaga and you see the way that the people who work there talk about their customers and whatnot. I feel like if you were fully let in on how the sausage is made, podcast classic phrase, that you would not really be able to justify in your head continuing to spend your money on that shit unless you're exorbitantly rich. But maybe even then still, like, I feel like most of the people who spend their money on shit like Balenciaga or Gucci or whatever are people who are not even thinking about what this is and why this costs this much and who owns this and what. Literally. You know, like we're all people who at least like, well, me and Blasey at least, maybe you're a little bit, but we all kind of like get what's going on in the fashion world. To me, it's like getting it makes me less interested in participating. Whereas I feel like a lot of people though in fashion, they know and they think it's sick, and they're like, I want to own $10,000 Rick Owens pants, even though I know exactly what's going on here and how it has become scarce.
I 100% agree with that, because that same rich kid who I was talking about earlier, bro, one time I was hanging out in his bedroom, his fucking mom walks in, and she's just like, hey, just got back from shopping. Throws him a box, right? And the box is just full of like, with tags on, Gucci belt, Louis belt, Prada, like literally, I'm not even joking, like 20 different designer belts. They're like $500 each. She just throws him a box. She's like, here's some new belts.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, bro, like, you know, like,
grew up sweet.
No, hell no. This is a dude that like I knew for like a year or two. I don't think so either. But that's when I realized, like, bro, like some of these rich kids, like for us, I would think that when you're going to a Louis store, you're like, man, I've been looking at this wallet for a month or two. Like, I really want to get this wallet. No, these fools are buying it without even thinking about it, and they just have it. They don't even care, you know?
Did you see the quote that Vince Staples had that came out this week in an interview? I forget with who, but he basically said he doesn't like to flex cars or jewelry or money because he knows that a lot of his fans make minimum wage or something close to it.
It's kind of rude.
So he doesn't really want to like put that in front of their face. Now, like I totally agree with that. I used to always look at like FaZe Banks and all these YouTubers when they'd be making these videos like I spent $30,000 on my girlfriend at Gucci.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 million views. And I'm like,
a year's fucking salary.
But that proves that these people want that. That they want to see that. They want to live through you. My assumption was always like, I don't want to fucking do that stuff because I don't want the fact like my fans or whatever, or like even my friends or people in my life who can't afford that kind of stuff to see me doing that, like to show that I'm better than them.
I can't hold myself to post a spread on Instagram. Like I can't do that to my fans, bro. That's disrespectful. Like, bro, y'all just paid me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did it one time out of
you posted a spread, Gary. There was 10s in there.
There was no 10s in there.
I feel like you could do it and it would be cool and funny.
I did it.
I don't want to do it.
I could post a funny one, but
especially on a wife beater.
I did out of humor because like I would do this thing where I would always like put 30% of my money away from YouTube, like at just like for tax reasons.
You still do that?
Yeah, I still do that. And then fucking and then taxes
for sure.
Yeah, and then tax season came around and I realized like, oh, I'm keeping a good portion of this money. I was like,
shout out to my tax guy.
Ivan.
Shout out to Ivan.
And I posted a spread. I just thought it was super funny. But then I did feel like an asshole. I was like, oh man, like that spread, I'm going to make it last for 2 years, for 3 years.
Okay, guys, we want to thank you so much for getting us to 100,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. If you want to support, please click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 200K. Thank you. Thank you so much.